If you've ever talked to an AI large language model, like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, they certainly seem intelligent. They can do lots of things: answer questions, explain any topic, write you emails, even tell you what to cook for dinner. Nowadays, more and more people use AI to accomplish the kinds of tasks that we used to think could only be done using human intelligence. But how truly intelligent is artificial intelligence? Does it have the same kind of cognitive abilities that we have, such as understanding language, learning and decision making, and reasoning about complex problems? This is important to understand because if we're going to trust large language models, or LLMs, to process information, reason, and make decisions for us, then we want to make sure that they do so in the same way that we would, as humans. Cognitive science can help us answer these questions. When we give LLMs the same kinds of tasks we give to humans to measure intelligence and cognition, we do see some surprising abilities emerge from these models. Some studies have found that LLMs can solve logical reasoning problems, sometimes even better than people can, which suggests that LLMs can do tasks beyond what they are trained on. That's interesting because it means it could be real reasoning. However, other studies tell a different story. Researchers found that while LLMs were able to easily solve standard kinds of logical puzzles, when they made the problems more complex, the LLM's abilities collapsed and they couldn't solve it. That suggests that they may just have been mimicking something they could see in their training data. So, the jury is still out on whether LLMs can truly reason and generalize beyond the information they are given. LLMs may also struggle to reason accurately about the physical world. For example, reasoning about affordances, or seeing how you could use an object for something it wasn't specifically designed for. You can easily tell whether a shirt or a cap would be more useful for drying up a spill or holding a bunch of blueberries, even though you wouldn't typically use those objects in those ways. LLMs might not, and this may be because they lack true embodied experience. They don't see and physically interact with the real world in the same way that you and I do. LLMs also show subtle differences to humans in their understanding and use of language. This is probably something you've noticed yourself when interacting with LLMs. Their language is often very formal and stylistic, and they overuse specific words like delve or realm. Some research done by my team has found that when LLMs and humans fill in missing words in sentences, people tend to prefer simpler words that get across the same message in ways that LLMs do not. This may be because of differences in memory and processing constraints, differing communicative goals, and again, because humans have access to the physical world, and LLMs don't. It shows that LLMs have a different way of understanding language than we do, and again, points to differences in how we do things. All these differences between humans and LLMs illustrate that what we think of as intelligence in LLMs may not be genuine cognition or understanding, but simply pattern matching or mimicry based on the training data. Kind of like the autocomplete on your phone. LLMs can be powerful tools for helping us in our work, study, and lives, but it's important to remember that they have limitations and that they should be used alongside human intelligence and cognition, rather than being used to replace it. On another note, we should also be mindful of how much of our thinking we're offloading to AI. Studies have shown that an over-reliance on AI can lead to a decline in our critical thinking, learning, and problem-solving abilities. In other words, when we outsource our thinking to AI, we risk losing the ability ourselves. Think back to a time before smartphones. We're not as good at navigating and remembering phone numbers as we used to be, because these days we just rely on our phones to do those things. Now, the skills that AI is replacing for us are those that are even more central to human cognition. It's easy to immediately turn to AI when faced with a problem because of the instant gratification and convenience that comes with getting a solution. But we miss out on the struggle of tackling a problem that keeps our minds sharp. Just like our bodies, our brains need exercise too. So, the next time you're tempted to turn to AI, remember what it is that makes you uniquely human, and see if you can enjoy giving your mind a little workout.